Hey guys, welcome back to a new video by Biology with Zhang Xuan. So today we are going to do the Cambridge IGCSE Biology, Paper 2, Multiple Choice Extended. This is the October-November 2024 series. This is variant 2. So if there are any questions during my discussion of the questions later, feel free to comment down in the comment section below. And yes, let's go through it. Question 1. Which organisms carry out respiration, growth, movement, and excretion? Alright, so the answer for this question is all animals and all plants. Okay, so remember that whatever that happens in the characteristics of living organisms, right? When you say living, it has to be anything that is living. Okay, so not just a specific group of organisms that can undergo these characteristics, but in fact is everything. Okay. Question 2. The chimpanzee belongs to the species Pan-troglodytes. What is the genus of the species? So this is the genus. This is the species. So it's very simple. The answer is B. Question 3. The diagram shows a tree leaf. Use the key to identify the tree species to which the leaf belongs. Okay, so this is actually a dichotomous key. And let's try to see. So first thing, they say this is the leaf shape. Okay, so leaf shape. I'm just going to draw the highlight here. So the second row is that leaf is simple with no leaflets. A leaf is compound with many leaflets. So of course you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's leaf with compound with many leaflets. Okay, so we are going here down. Okay, the leaf edge is smooth or the leaf edge is jagged. So you can see it's like this, like a zigzag. Okay, so it's actually jagged. So just draw it down and here. So the answer for this question is Sorbus aucuparia. Question 4. What is the function of mitochondria in the cell? Alright, so the answer for this question is quite straightforward, is to release energy. Okay, another one thing to note down on this is that you can see that in the answer, right, they never say to produce energy. So in any paper 4 or paper 6 question, never write produce energy. It should be release. Okay, that's actually a complex reason why it's actually released and not produced. Okay, so just have to be careful with this in doing exam. Question 5. Which row shows the function of the cell membrane and the function of the cell wall in a palisade cell? Okay, obviously for a cell membrane, okay, we have to know that the cell membrane actually works a lot on active transport. Okay, and the cell wall will act as support. Right, so the answer is B. But some of you may put cell membrane as support, but it's not really Okay, it's actually the cell wall has a much greater importance for support, and cell membrane is mostly for the movement in and out of the cell. The molecules that are moving inside and they're moving outside. Alright. Question 6. A species is viewed under a microscope with a ×10 magnification. The specimen image measures 30 mm. So what is the actual size? Alright, so let's draw out the triangle, the formula triangle. I, M. Okay, so we want to find the actual size of the specimen. So I is 30 mm, so 30 times 10. Times 1000 divided by 10. So your answer for this question would be 3000. Alright. So you just cross 1, 30 times 100, 3000. Alright. Alright, question 7. The diagram shows the water potential of 3 plant cells. The more negative the value, the higher the solute concentration. So what is the immediate movement of water that will occur between the three cells? Alright, so they've highlighted to you, the more negative the value, the higher the solute concentration. Alright, so meaning, which one is the most negative in terms of the value would be this. The least here. Okay, so how would water move? Alright, so remember that water moves from higher water potential to lower water potential. So we can expect to see that from R, they go to Q, and R to go to P. Because it is less negative, it has a lower solute concentration, or you can also say that slightly more water potential. And then for P, we'll be moving to Q. Because minus 360 is more positive than minus 400. So one is the immediate movement, right? So it's from P to Q, P to Q, R to P, and R to Q. So the answer is A. So for this type of question, you really have to really write down the concept, write down where it moves first and there. Do not get confused with the negative value, okay? Because during exam, if you suddenly couldn't think out of it, then you will get stuck, okay? So it's very most important that you really visualize out, and then it's easy for you to do. Question 8. Which base in a DNA molecule always pairs with a G base? So very straightforward, Cr. Okay. Question 9. The diagram shows the steps in the enzyme-controlled reaction. What describes the part labeled X? So we have the enzyme and the substrate. When the enzyme and substrate binds together, this whole thing is called as an enzyme-substrate complex. Okay. Question 10. The graph shows the effect of temperature on the time taken for the complete digestion of starch. At which temperature is the rate of the starch the greatest? Okay. So usually the shorter amount of time to complete digestion is the highest. Okay, so shorter the time, higher rate of digestion. So obviously this clue that I've given to you, you already know the answer. The answer is 40 degrees. Okay, because at 40 degrees, it's only at 1 minute. So if you have something, 1 minute, they can digest everything already. So that's why that is the fastest. Question 11. Which substance is needed to make chlorophyll, and which part of the plant absorbs that substance? So obviously this one you must know your two mineral requirements, which is nitrate and magnesium. Nitrate for growth, for the basically like a protein for the plant, and magnesium, which is for the pigment. Alright, so substance is the magnesium. Where in the plant is a part of the plant where the substance absorbs. So where do they get these ions? Where do they get these nutrients? Obviously it's at the root hairs. So the answer is C. Question 12. The diagram shows a type of plant cell. In which tissue is this cell found? Alright, so obviously if you have seen a lot of diagrams, or you've done a lot of past paper, you already tell me this is very simple. It is actually the palisade mesophyll cell. Okay, but what is actually the clue to tell you that this is a palisade mesophyll cell? It is the number of chloroplasts there. Okay, so you can see within this space, which is actually the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, there is a lot of chloroplasts. Okay, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's about 9 chloroplasts, but it's a lot. Okay, because in a leaf cell, the most chloroplast that you can find is at the palisade mesophyll cell. Okay, and then the shape is shaped like a rectangular also. Okay. Alright, let's go to question 13. Which component of a balanced diet are needed to make hemoglobin to prevent scurvy and rickets? So this is vitamin C, and this is vitamin D. Alright, and they tell you to make hemoglobin, which is actually iron, if you know. Okay, so where is the answer? So the answer is mineral ions and vitamin, because iron is a mineral ion, vitamin C and D is obviously a vitamin, right? Alright, question 14. Which group of organs belong to the same organ system? Meaning like whether they are in like the digestive system, whether in the the cardiovascular system, something like that. So the diaphragm, esophagus, and the trachea. So actually this is the respiratory system, but the odd one out is the esophagus. It shouldn't be there. B, heart, liver, and lungs. Okay, so they are all from different. If we were to look at different perspectives, so heart is actually in the cardiovascular, liver is at the digestive system, and lung is at the respiratory system. So B is out. C, heart, stomach, trachea. Okay, so heart is actually in the cardiovascular system, stomach is at the digestive, and trachea is at the respiratory. D, esophagus, intestine, and stomach is actually found in the digestive system, or in the alimentary canal. So the answer is D. Question 15. The diagram shows the villus, okay, which part of transport of glucose and fatty acids away from the villus. Okay, so if you're a bit confused with the parts suddenly, okay, what I can suggest you is to start with the fatty acids, because fatty acid is quite simple and we know that it's actually the lacteal, right? So the lacteal is actually here. So lacteal is a very significant portion. It's always the most innermost layer, right? So you can see this at here, right? So the answer is actually 3 lah, okay, for fatty acids. So if you know that it's 3, then glucose will be 4 already. Alright, so the answer for this question would be C. Alright, question 16. Which conditions lead the lowest rate of transpiration in a plant? Okay, lowest rate. Alright, usually rate of transpiration, we need to have a warmer climate, okay, and usually a much a lower humidity also. Okay, so obviously the other way around, if you want to make it the lowest rate, then it will be cool and also high humidity. Alright, so the answer is A. Question 17. The table shows the transport tissues of plants and some substances that may or may not travel through these tissues. Which row is correct for translocation? So tell you translocation. So where does it occur? In the phloem. Okay, and what do they transport? Sucrose. So the answer is B. It's really straightforward. All right. Question 18. The diagram shows a circulatory system of a fish. Okay. All right. They're telling you that what is the structure labeled X. Okay. So this one you may need a little bit of what do you call that? Understanding, but I feel like it's a little bit challenging too. So we can rule out certain things is that this actually looks like a straight line, okay, and honestly we do not have anything that actually looks like a straight line in terms of the vascular system, right? Especially that is placed in this way. All right, so to me the answer would be the gills. Okay, so why heart, aorta, vena cava is not, is because like the heart is found here with like the heart, yeah, it's found somewhere here, but I couldn't find it. It's not shown really exclusively. The vena cava will be the one that's transporting the deoxygenated blood, which actually has the valves, and then we have the aorta, which actually just moves down, which brings the oxygenated blood. All right, and then that's the capillaries at the center, at the bottom center. All right, question 19. Which factors increase the risk of developing coronary heart disease? So, of course, first of all, increasing in age. Okay, if you smoke or being stressed, you're definitely going to get coronary heart disease. Regular exercise definitely won't be the case to get this disease. Question 20. All right, so which features of the human body protects against pathogens in food? All right, so they're talking about your general immune system. Okay, so red blood cells, they do not. Stomach acid, they do. Okay, and the white blood cells, yes, obviously they're going to do your phagocytosis. All right, so the answer is C. Okay, question 21. What causes air to enter the lungs? Okay, so first thing, air entering is called inspiration. Alright, so let's go one by one. External intercostal muscles, they will contract. Okay, they will contract. What happens to the volume of the thorax? Imagine you are bringing all the air into your body. The lungs begins to expand. Alright, so your volumes will increase. the air pressure in the thorax will drop. Okay, remember, your pressure is coming from outside, which is higher in terms of pressure, and your lungs inside are much lower in pressure. That's why air can be forced in. All right, so that is the idea. So the answer is C. All right, question 22. The symbol of an equation for aerobic respiration is shown. Okay, which numbers represents the letters shown in the equation X, Y, and Z? All right, for this type of question, please do memorize it. All right, this all the chemical equations that you can see in your textbook inside the syllabus, that has to be memorized, because you do not have to be stuck in this kind of question. So C6H12O6 plus 6O2, 6CO2, and 6H2O. So the answer is 12, 6, and 2. So the answer is D. Question 23. The student investigates the rate of anaerobic respiration in the yeast. The total volume of carbon dioxide produced is measured every 10 minutes and for 40 minutes. The table shows the result. Between which times is the rate of anaerobic respiration the fastest? Okay, so anaerobic respiration shouldn't be producing any carbon dioxide. All right, that is and especially in yeast. Okay, yeast, they will only come out with alcohol. Okay, so the total volume of which time the rate of anaerobic respiration is the fastest, right, is that the time where they don't oh, I get the question now. Okay, they say rate of anaerobic respiration. It means that the difference, okay, in terms of the jump is highest, because between 0 to 10 minutes there's a 24-minute gap, 24 cm cube difference. Okay, please grab away. Anaerobic respiration, they do produce CO2, but not so much. Okay, and between 40 to 37 there is about 17 centimeter cube, and this one's only 1. So which one is the fastest? Okay, in between we got 10 to 20 also. Okay, 30 to 37, which actually is about 7 centimeter cube. So the fastest will be this one. So the answer is 0 to 10 minutes. Okay, please follow this answer. Ignore what I said previously. I did not understand the question at first. Alright, question 24. Which part of an amino acid is removed during deamination? Alright, amino acid is coming from your proteins, right? And all of these, there's a one specific part that has to be removed, and it's part of urea, the nitrogen containing part. Alright, so you are removing the nitrogen containing part. Question 25. Which process happens in a glomerulus in a kidney? Alright, so obviously glomerulus, they do ultrafiltration. Okay, they are filtering all the stuff from the plasma component of the blood into the Bowman's capsule. So filtration is the answer. Question 26. The diagram shows a synapse in the reflex arc. What are the identities of the two neurons? In which direction does the neurotransmitter pass? Okay, let's look at each of the options. Alright, neuron P is the motor. Neuron Q is the relay. Direct of passage of the neurotransmitter is P to Q. This is wrong, okay? It should be the relay first and then the motor second. Next one, motor to sensory, P to Q. This is also wrong. It should be the other way around. It should be the sensory first, then they go to the relay, then to the motor, then effector muscles. C, relay to motor. Right, this is actually correct, but it doesn't go from Q to P. It should be P to Q. Alright, last one, relay to sensory. Alright, so you put neuron Q as sensory and relay as neuron P, but you can see it's from Q to P. So we assume that it's going like this, or in the graph they're going this way, which is actually correct also. Okay, remember that a synapse, it doesn't have to be must from starting from the left then moving to the right. It depends on what is that type of neuron. Okay, if that neuron is stated correctly and is going to the subsequent neuron, the next neuron, which is the correct type, that will be that is also correct. Alright, so the answer is D. Very, very careful with this kind of question. Okay, they're actually not tricking you, but you just have to remember that it doesn't restrict you left or right. Okay, as long as the type of neuron is correct. Question 27. Okay, which responses occurs in the iris of the eye when a person walks from a brightly lit area to a dimly lit area? Means it's a much darker area, right? Darker area. Alright, so what happens here? Okay, your circular muscles will relax and your radial muscles will contract. As a result, your pupils are actually getting bigger so that they can see how much light they can absorb within that time range. Okay, so it's actually all about like a pupil increase in size. Okay, question 28. Which statements about hormones are correct? Okay, adrenaline decreased pupil diameter. This is actually wrong. Adrenaline increases pupil diameter, correct. So that's why you can see in textbook pupil dilate. So the diameter is actually increasing. Insulin decreases blood glucose concentration. Yes, that's correct. Insulin increase blood glucose. No, this is actually glucagon. Alright, so the answer is C. Question 29. Bacteria such as MRSA, are resistant to antibiotics. These processes can occur in bacteria. So which processes lead to the development of antibiotic resistance? Right? So which processes lead to that? So artificial selection? No. Artificial selection is always handpicked by humans. Humans is the one that is involved in this process. Genetic variation, yes. Mutation, yes. Natural selection, yes. Because they come into almost like a package already. So the answer is 2, 3, and 4. Question 30. A farmer grows hot pepper plants and sweet pepper plants in different fields on his farm. Each year, the farmer saves seeds from the pepper plants to grow the next crop of peppers. One year, the farmer notices that some of the seeds from the sweet pepper plant have grown into plants and which produces hot and sweet peppers. Okay, what is the most likely explanation? Self-pollination has occurred and pollen has been transferred from the anther of a hot pepper to the stigma of a sweet pepper plant. Actually, they're not talking to you about self-pollination, right? So self-pollination is actually both out. But let's see the cross-pollination. Cross-pollination has occurred and pollen has been transferred from the stigma of a hot pepper plant to the anther of a sweet pepper plant. This is actually wrong. It should be the other way around. It should be anther to stigma. Very important. Anther to stigma. So therefore the answer is D already. Okay. So pollen has been transferred from the anther to the stigma of a sweet pepper plant. Alright. Question 31. Why do different cells in the human body produce different proteins? Alright. So alleles can be dominant or recessive. This is wrong. Only particular genes are expressed. This is correct. Cells have different genes? No. The sequence of bases in DNA varies between different cells. This is wrong. So the answer is actually B. Okay, you may be wondering like why B and where can I find this in the syllabus? It's actually in the textbook. I think there's one section about like how do proteins being made. That actually mentions about it depends on the particular gene, like the specific gene itself. It have expressed, then they produce the protein. Remember, you have a library of DNA, but you don't use all of that DNA. The certain picked one will be the ones used to express for your proteins. Okay, so remember, it's not everything. It's a particular gene. It could be a specific part from the library that they get, and they will express that gene to produce the protein. Alright, question 32. Which graph shows the mean mass of DNA per cell before, during, and after mitosis? Okay, so they tell you about the mean mass of DNA. Alright, so this is actually a tricky question if you see this at first. So okay, alright, I'm also just kind of like looking at it also. Okay, so So this is before, during, and after mitosis. So let's say lah, okay, if you do not know, before is actually the interphase. Okay, then during will be the your mitosis, and then after that is actually known as cytokinesis. Okay, I tell you what is the meaning first, okay? But this is something that they should actually explain more in the syllabus, honestly. So interphase is what happens before that, okay? Interphase is like a set of procedures that they make sure that the cell is prepared for mitosis, okay? And that they undergo your DNA replication, okay? All this kind of stuff, so that they can make sure that the cell itself is ready. During mitosis is obviously the ones that we know that they're going to produce genetically identical two genetically identical cells. Cytokinesis is actually a process where it actually splits into two. Okay, all right, and then yeah, that's actually what I can tell you for now. So, assuming from this kind of graph, right? Okay, so let's cut this way. Okay, the answer is actually B. I just tell you why is it B. Okay, because before mitosis occurs, right, what happens that we have this is DNA replication. Let's say if you have they have tell you that, let's say I have 28 DNA, right? Before mitosis, this is going to be doubled. Okay, this is fixed. It's going to be doubled. So that's why from 4 it becomes 8. Then mitosis happens. So mitosis happens, they will undergo all your different phases again, and they will split, okay, during the anaphase, okay, where both of the chromosomes are split, right? Then it will be reduced again to 4, and then the numbers remain the same. Okay, because mitosis happens in diploid. Okay, remember, it happens in diploid cells. So that's why the numbers have to remain back to normal. But look at the others. They start with 4, but they drop to 2. That is not possible. Okay, it is a diploid cell. You must imagine that this is a diploid cell, that you are retaining your chromosome number. Okay, before and after is the same amount of it. It's during the process of where it's splitting, then there will be a change in terms of the number of DNA, not really on the number of chromosomes. But looking at C, from 4 it drops to 1. That's not possible. And 4 it drops to, I'm not sure what value they went down and went up again. That doesn't make sense at all. So that's why the answer is B. Okay, this I think should be really explained more carefully in terms of the process of it also. Okay, question 33. Which statement about gene mutations is correct? So, a mutation is a change in the amino acid sequence of the DNA. It's actually wrong, actually. B. Mutations are the source of genetic variation. Yup, this is correct. Mutations are caused by random mating. No. Mutations can happen during random fertilization. That is also wrong. That's actually more to genetic variation. So the answer is B. Okay, I think some of you guys may actually put A, or mutations, a change in the amino sequence of DNA, but to be fair, it is not really lah. It's not really that because sometimes a change in the amino acid sequence doesn't really mean to mutation also. Okay, and also it depends on whether mutation can be also a good thing or it could be a bad thing. But most of the time we think mutation as a bad thing. Alright, it's like from something good, then you mutate it to become something bad, because we watch a lot of movies, right, where when the zombies when the humans mutate to zombies, they become bad guys. Okay, but the idea is that mutation, it can be both good and bad, and that actually is a way of creating genetic variation. That's how most of us in the world, humans, we are all different. Okay, question 34. The diagram shows the amount of energy in kilojoules meter per square year per year at each trophic level of a food chain. Approximately how much energy is lost between the producers and the secondary consumers? So actually this you just have to calculate it, but even if you we're going to go and calculate. It's actually just 2000 energy is lost. I need to think of a formula for this also. Okay, so the answer is 98%. Okay, but I think I will need to show you why. First of all, is that you can actually see lah from the number itself, from initially 88,000 and you only remain with 2,000, right? Okay, this is actually showing you the energy, by the way. Okay, they're showing you the energy. Okay, so from so much of 88,000 and you only remain to 2,000, right? Okay, it means that only 2%, technically about 2% is still remain. Okay, about 2% is still remain, and the rest of it is lost. I think you don't really also have to go and calculate the values, okay? Because obviously you can see between 88,000 and to 2,000, right? It's a massive drop. Okay, it's a massive drop. And they're asking you for how much energy is lost. That's why it's not 2%. It's actually 98, because they tell you how much is lost. Because 2% is the remainder. It's the remainder of energy left, right? So yeah, the answer is D lah. But to be fair, you can do the calculation method, but if you're running low on time, then this is how you do already. You do based on like the values itself. You see how much is it. Okay, question 35. Which process of the nitrogen cycle removes nitrogen gas from the atmosphere? Alright, so the answer for this is nitrogen fixation, because you're getting the nitrogen gas from the environment and you fix it, okay, into the to make it to basically be doing the cycle in the soil. Alright, question 36. What is a population? Okay, let's see every option. A group of different organisms living in different areas at the same time. Right, this is actually wrong. A group of organisms of different species living in the same area. This is also wrong. It should be the same species. A group of organisms of one species living in the same area at different times. No, it should be at the same time. A group of organisms of one species living in the same area at the same time. This is correct. Okay, so I think like for this kind of definition, you think population as human. Okay, we are all one species, we live in the same area, we live at the same time. Okay, so that's how the idea is. Okay, question 37. A farmer has a small pond on their farmland. One year, most of the organisms in the pond dies. The next year is that the farmer decreases their use of nitrate fertilizer and the fewer organisms in the pond die. Which statements explain why this help increase the number of organisms living in the pond? Okay, because this. So why the reason they die is due to eutrophication. Okay, the use of nitrate, and they actually leak into the nearby ponds. Okay, so let's see. So why is there increase in the number of organisms? Because in eutrophication, there is decrease in dissolved oxygen. But when, of course, there's no more eutrophication, then there'll be more oxygen in the respective ponds. And then because there is less decrease in decomposition. Because when you have more decomposition occurring, then your dissolved oxygen will also drop, because most of the decomposers, they need some energy. They need energy for respiration. Okay, and then they're taking in the oxygen. So the answer is C. Okay, question 38. The graph shows how the population of a species of a bird has increased following a conservation program. Okay, what is the percentage increase in the number of breeding pairs of birds from 1996 to 2004? Right, so there's actually a significant number increase. So it's actually 60, and this is about 340. Alright, so let's calculate this. Oh, sorry, it says by 2002. 2002, my bad. So 2002 is about 230. Okay. So 230, that's why I was like calculating, but I couldn't get the answer right. Okay, so this is how you solve it. Alright, so 230 minus 60, okay, divided by 60, then you times by 100. So the answer is actually 283% increase. Okay, you see the numbers, why they're going across 100%, right? It's because they ask you for percentage increase, how much it has gone up, okay, from previously then to this value. Alright, so therefore, the answer for this question is 283%. Question 39. The diagram shows a bacterial cell that is used in genetic modification. Which labeled structure makes the bacteria useful for genetic modification? So the answer is actually the plasmid. So plasmid is a small circular ring of DNA. So the answer is C. Question 40. The diagram shows some apparatus that was used to produce lactose-free milk. The alginate beads do not react with any of the substances, acts as an enzyme that catalyzes a reaction involving one of the substances found in milk. So what is X and Y? So in order to have the lactose-free milk, you have to remove the lactose. So how do you remove the lactose? Is by using lactase. And what actually contains in the solution will be glucose. Alright, because lactose, actually, if you know lactose, if you break it down, it's glucose and galactose. So therefore, starch is actually ruled out already. So the answer is C. Alright, so that's all for this paper. So I would say this paper is slightly tricky, but it's doable. Okay, if you get your concepts right, then it will work. It will help you a lot. So thank you so much for watching this video and see you in the next one. Bye bye.